Hey everybody, how's it going out there this week? Well, it's almost Christmas time, and that means I'm getting ready for the holidays myself. I've got to pack up my things and get things going. I wanted to do a quick video because I know I haven't done one in a few months. And thank you for my Patreon subscribers for donating it once again this month. But I'm going to stop it right here where it says to show your support and all that, because I've come to sort of a decision in the past few weeks, and that is like I kind of want to do away with the Patreon for many reasons, and my reasons are personal, and it's actually an interesting sort of thought process behind it. So I wanted to kind of go over that a little bit. So here it goes. I don't feel comfortable taking money from people in the fandom for just doing something I was going to do anyway. For one. Number two, it looks like the method I was using isn't going to work, isn't going to have much scalability. And I don't want to get into like having to learn new tools and skills and all that just for, to have a few bucks a month. And I appreciate the dollars that you send, but it does sort of hamper my ability to make videos really quickly when I have to worry about all this other stuff on top of it. And I know that's kind of unprofessional, I suppose, but there's other elements to it too. Not just the fact of like how much effort it would take to kind of like try to scale up a Patreon and make it a profitable kind of a thing. There's also the thing is like, should I profit on something like news for things like that? And since it's things that impact other people's livelihoods and lives, I don't think it's something that like I should be profiteering off of. So I would like to try to keep this as a hobby rather than something that would be moving towards something that would be something I would make money on. And even if I did accept gifts or accept dollar donations from individuals, Patreon is not really the best tool to use for that. And the reason being is that, for those of you who don't know, when you use Patreon, there is a percent cut that Patreon takes. I call it the Patreon tax. It's a fee. It's a business. It's not really a tax. You can't call it a tax unless it's a government. But what I'm saying is that there is a fee that you have to pay Patreon in order to get money from their services, even at values as small as $1. And the reason probably being is that probably a chunk of that goes to the credit card companies because they utilize credit card payments for recurring payments, and the credit cards have fees as well. So a portion of that Patreon fee is probably for the credit card companies. So like literally, and then of the money that does come into my pocket, that money is taxable. So not only do I have to worry about like that you guys are giving me $1 and maybe 60 cents makes it to me, but of that 60 cents, another percentage of that is going to Uncle Sam. So it's like, at that point, like, you guys are getting half of your money taken away from you, and it's not really going to the place that you want it to go. So my suggestion is this. If you really want to support me, if you really want to support what I do and support the things that I do, make fan art, have like fun things like that. Some of you have done that already, and I'm very grateful for it. If you do want to compensate me monetarily, like throw money at me at a con or something if you see me or something. I don't know. Like it like if it's like, oh, I want to give the Roo $1 a month. Just like save up your dollars. And then just like here, save up $12 and then throw them at me, during like a meet or something, right? Because then I still have to probably pay taxes on it because it's a quote unquote gift, I guess. But like, at least Patreon won't be cutting like a portion of it. At least only Uncle Sam I have to deal with like claiming it on taxes. Obviously, if enough people throw money at you, you have to claim it on taxes just as anything else. But at least like when people are throwing the cash at you, it's not there's no like Patreon fees or anything like that. And that sort of brings me into the whole sort of my New Year's resolution, or at least I think a New Year's resolution for the furry fandom and for the fandom in general, and any nerddom that really revolves around internet culture and internet things, is that the world's kind of gotten a little lonely. And the reason I think that is because we rely on these systems that these people create for ease and convenience. And that ease and convenience, while it's a blessing sometimes for certain things, like I've recently started to look into Robinhood and doing like that sort of investing and stuff like that, in that, which is why I absolutely, when I say I don't need money being thrown at me by furries who might be in more need to use that money for themselves, I really mean it. I'm literally moving to the stage of finance where, you know, I have enough liquidity where I'm, you know, looking at investing and doing those kind of things. It really, really adult stuff, right? So I've gotten past the, you know, getting my finances in order and getting a budget. And I know many furries out there aren't quite there. And to ask the furry fandom to donate money to me, when they could use it more, when they can see that it, you know, they could find better purposes for it, I think would be quite shallow of me to do. And that's why I'm sort of moving away from the idea of Patreon and that kind of thing. I know it's sort of an American tradition that you see people who, you know, that you sort of see them on the TV or you see them on the internet and you're like, oh man, I want to get to know that guy. Oh, I'm gonna give him money gifts and things like that. But I think that's sort of what has led us down this path of this problem that we sort of face in our modern society, where, you know, the people who are well off are given gifts and given, you know, attention and given things that they already are oversaturated with, right? Celebrities get a lot of attention, but they don't need attention. Meanwhile, there's, you know, large amounts of people who are, you know, spending Christmas alone, right? You know, we have all these individuals who have a lot of wealth, and, you know, the first thing somebody does when he says, I'll buy you a beer, sir. I know you're that popular investor guy. I'm going to buy you a beer. And it's like, they don't need, like, the thing is, like, they should be buying you a beer. You know what I mean? It's that sort of, the haves have and they get more, and the ones that don't have don't. And I think during this Christmas season, I think that's an important message to have. And that's the reason I'm removing myself from Patreon. There are hundreds of furries out there who have Patreons. There are hundreds of people who do what they do on YouTube for a living. They don't have a job like I do. Like, I could afford to not do a video for a few months. I could afford not to do those kind of things because I have another job elsewhere. And I think it's not fair to those furries who rely on furry fans for monetary income to distract or to take away any dollars that could go their way. Like Adler the Eagle or Rick, what's his name? God. Like any of the artists. Like, there's a bunch of artists, there's a bunch of YouTubers, there's like a bunch of individuals who do this for a living and who rely on this monetary thing, and they put a lot more production value into it, and they put a lot more soul into it. I'm just a guy in front of a camera. And yeah, vlog style things are something that human beings do all the time, and, you know, they use it for educational purposes, and that's what I'm doing as well. But the reality is that education, like, you don't make a lot of money on education. And if my purpose is education, I should be putting the money as an aside kind of a thing. You know, I've already got a full-time job that pays enough to live off of, even by myself. And I've got a sort of a side hustle going on where, you know, over the last month I made $100 on it. And, like, yeah, you know, I did some learning and stuff like that. So I've already got, like, those sources of income. I'm already going to have to do those kind of taxes on it. And I just want to try to, narrow it down so I don't have like 5 streams of income coming in and then I have to like do taxes on all 5 streams of income. I know that seems kind of like a lot of Americans and rich Americans might look at me like I'm insane for saying that, like, oh, no, like, I want to try to keep my life simple and just keep it to these sources of income. So you could grow more, man, you're crazy. Why would you do that? It's like, if I wanted to go really crazy and do different things, then I would, like, I would just do it. But I think that it sort of takes away from the personal side of it. I think that Patreon and all these other sort of Twitter feeds and numbers things, all these number games that we play, the YouTube count, the hit the subscribe button and give me subscriber counts and give me watch time and all that stuff. I think it detracts from the element of soul. I think it takes away from that, and I think that has been holding me back as far as making new content goes, because I would literally have to go, okay, I need to get the bar ready. Right, I would get like, oh, I'm ready to go. I would sit down. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go. And it's like, I gotta get that bar ready. And I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta take like 2 more minutes to do that. And I'm pretty good at doing things impromptu on the fly, but for some reason, this scroll bar thing has like, it sort of took some wind out of my sails, and I feel like it was a distraction. And I don't think the minor amount of money that comes in, because there's 3 of you, I think, donating right now, and of that $3, I only see like $1.50 maybe of it. And even then, I have a Patreon. I have a Patreon subscription to another group of people, another group of furries, and so basically, like, I basically get a discount on that transaction, and that's basically it. Like, so I don't see any of that money technically. But I still kind of have to pay taxes on it. So it's like I still have to, like, do I have to add it to a line in there? And that's a lot of work, right, for not seeing any of the money, right? So to me, it's just simpler to kind of just let it go and just let go of the whole Patreon idea. It was an experiment, and I kind of figured I would not like it. I kind of went into it. I was like, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it this whole monetization thing a shot. Not for me. If I get to 1,000 subscribers and I get to that watch time that's needed, and that gets me back to making AdSense or whatever, I think that should be fine. Even then, though, like, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and I think that my gift to you is to give your money back to you. So if you are a Patreon subscriber, this month will be the last month. I will be shutting it down in January. Thank you very much for your patronage, and I hope that you continue watching regardless. So bye-bye to the bar. My New Year's resolution next year is to hopefully connect with people more, and I think that's a big one that at the end of the day, I think a lot of people want, is to connect with people more, connect with people in your community more, connect with the humans in your life, even if you see them as smelly and not necessary, because sometimes us furries do that. We're like, oh, those humans, like we could be misanthropic, okay? We could be a pretty misanthropic bunch, for sure. But I think that if we can find at least 1 or 2 people, to connect to in our lives, that we might have lost connection to in this next new year, I think that we can, help, bring that cold, calculating algorithm that is the internet into something a lot more human, in an ironic sense. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope that next year we will be able to, have more people and connect with each other. And I'll certainly do my part to look for news stories that help people connect with things that they're looking for, and to help better the world about them and help use the lessons of trials and errors, their trials and tribulations, in order to make it easier for newer furries to come into the fandom. Some of the big news stories for next year that I'm looking into has to do around the buying of fursuits from a customer's perspective and from a fursuit designer's perspective, and trying to help create an article which helps both the customer and the fursuit designer to avoid pitfalls of communication and pitfalls of expectations and things like that, in order to make it sure that people who are going to try and get fursuits, don't end up, sort of quote unquote scammed, right? Or feel scammed or are scammed and things like that. So things that customers can do to help protect themselves from being scammed, and things that artists can do to help them, push themselves in the right direction, to understand that this is a business, this is a job, and here's how you can move forward so that you're doing things in a timely manner, and putting forward the expectations properly, and doing things in a legit and professional manner. I think that that's a big thing that a lot of people are looking for, both in the artist world and the finance world and the business transaction world. So those are a big project that I have sort of in the works for 2020. I think that those kind of stories will certainly be things that I think the fandom will appreciate more than, obviously I will talk about, random, like, obviously heinous stuff if it comes up during the year, as I always do. Hopefully they don't, and if they don't, then hopefully I'll be able to cover more stories that will make the general fandom a better place for both people who consume products and people who create products and all those kind of things. I also have another side project on the thought of dealing with finances, because apparently I'm okay at it. As I said, I don't need a Patreon, and I could be financially independent. And I know a lot of furries aren't. So given that our schools in America really don't teach, and schools in general don't really teach great finance and budgeting and things like that, I think that having maybe a YouTube channel called Furry Finance or something, to go over those concepts, to make it so that you as well could be financially independent. Obviously, if you're a younger furry, it'll be more prominent to you. Like if you're in your young 18s or you're just becoming an adult, the earlier that you understand finance, the better off you could be. It's sort of like the earlier that you take the time to exercise and take care of your body, the more you can fight off illness, and the more you can, the more easier it is, right? It's that BoJack Horseman guy says, it's hard, but you just gotta it gets easier. But you gotta keep at it and stuff like that. So I think that information like that would be a great send to the furry fandom too, because if the furry fandom becomes more financially literate and becomes and can stabilize themselves and get themselves a strong financial foothold, then what ends up happening is that you can buy more art, and you can buy more, and you can give more to charity, and you can do those things that it can seem like it's too hard to get to, but I think with a little bit of discussion and things like that, I think that we can make a more secure community by helping people give the tools they need to enjoy their experiences here more. And I think that's the big thing I want to focus on in the new year. But until that day, thank you very much for 2019. Thank you very much for the people who are subscribing, and thank you very much to the Patreons. I thank you for your patronage, but you could take that money and you could go and you could stick it in your local assets. Okay? You could take that money and you can now do what you want with it because I don't need it. You could take it. You go. Get your Washingtons out of here. You're good. Uh, yeah, I think that a lot of I think that you'll find other places that you can spend it on for other projects and things like that, and support other furries in their endeavors, or support yourself and invest $1 in something. I don't know how much you can invest $1 in, but make sure save it. Make sure that you have a good nest egg for yourself to make sure that if there's financial woes that we don't have to do any like GoFundMe's or anything like that. Just do what you will with the dollar. It's your dollar now. You don't have to go home, but you can't spend it here. All right. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the new year. Hopefully, you guys have a great Christmas with your friends and your family. Hopefully, you get to bring a little less loneliness to those people who are oversaturated with, popularity and all that stuff. As I was saying earlier, be with the people that care for you, and be with people who the world could care less for sometimes. Some people who feel that the world's left them behind, you be there for them this holiday season, and they will appreciate it, and that will be the greatest gift that you can give them. So, thank you very much for watching this year. Hope to see you again next year. Kick that like, hit the subscribe button, kick a comment in the comment section. Feel free to chat it up. I think the comments are the most important part, because everything else is just a number. Thank you very much. Have a good one.